This is a comprehensive list of lists of rivers, organized primarily by continent and country. General lists: list of rivers by age, list of rivers by continent, list of rivers by length, list of rivers by discharge, list of drainage basins by area, list of longest undammed rivers, list of river name etymologies, list of rivers of the Americas by coastline, list of rivers of the Americas, rivers of Europe. List of rivers discharging into the North Sea, list of European rivers with alternative names, list of rivers of the Baltic Sea. Rivers of Europe by country. Rivers of Africa. List of rivers of Chad, list of rivers of Egypt, list of rivers of Eritrea, list of rivers of Ethiopia, list of rivers of Ghana, list of rivers of Kenya, list of rivers of Lesotho, list of rivers of Madagascar, list of rivers of Mauritius, list of rivers of Morocco, list of rivers of our Copyright Union, list of rivers of Sierra Leone, list of rivers of Somalia, list of rivers of South Africa, list of rivers of South Sudan, list of rivers of Sudan, list of rivers of Togo, list of rivers of Uganda, list of rivers of Zambia, list of rivers of Zimbabwe. Rivers of Asia. Central Asia, list of rivers of Kazakhstan, list of rivers of Kyrgyzstan, list of rivers of Russia, list of rivers of Tajikistan, list of rivers of Turkmenistan, list of rivers of Uzbekistan, Eastern Asia, list of rivers of People's Republic of China, list of rivers of Hong Kong. List of rivers of Republic of China, list of rivers of Mongolia, list of rivers of Japan, list of rivers of Korea, Southern Asia, list of rivers of Bangladesh, list of rivers of India, list of rivers of Dakshina Kannada and Udupi districts, list of rivers in Kerala, list of rivers of Rajasthan, list of rivers in Tamil Nadu, list of rivers of Assam, list of rivers of West Bengal. List of rivers of Nepal, list of rivers of Pakistan, list of rivers of Sri Lanka, Southeastern Asia, list of rivers of Malaysia, list of rivers of Singapore, list of rivers of Vietnam, Western Asia, list of rivers of Armenia, list of rivers of Azerbaijan, list of rivers of Cyprus, list of rivers of Georgia, list of rivers of Syria, list of rivers of Turkey, rivers of North America. List of rivers of Greenland, list of rivers of Mexico, list of Hudson Bay rivers, rivers of Canada. List of rivers of Alberta, list of rivers of British Columbia, list of rivers of Manitoba, list of rivers of New Brunswick, list of rivers of Newfoundland and Labrador, list of rivers of the Northwest Territories, list of rivers of Nova Scotia, list of rivers of Nunavut, list of rivers of Ontario, list of rivers of Prince Edward Island, list of rivers of Quebec, list of rivers of Saskatchewan, list of rivers of Yukon, rivers of the United States. List of longest rivers in the United States by state, list of rivers in the Great Basin, list of rivers in the Rocky Mountains, list of watercourses in the San Francisco Bay Area, list of rivers in U.S. insular areas, list of rivers of Guam, list of rivers of Puerto Rico, list of rivers of the United States Virgin Islands. Rivers of the United States by state. Rivers of Central America and the Caribbean. Rivers of South America. List of rivers of Argentina, list of rivers of Mendoza Province. List of rivers of Bolivia, list of rivers of Brazil, list of rivers of Chile, list of rivers of Colombia, list of rivers of Ecuador, list of rivers of the Falkland Islands, list of rivers of French Guiana, list of rivers of Guyana, list of rivers of Paraguay, list of rivers of Peru, list of rivers of Suriname, list of rivers of Uruguay, list of rivers of Venezuela. Rivers of Oceania. List of rivers of Antarctica, list of rivers of Australia, list of rivers in New South Wales, list of rivers in New South Wales, list of rivers of Tasmania. List of rivers of the Federated States of Micronesia, list of rivers of New Zealand, list of rivers in the Marlborough region, list of rivers of New Zealand by length. Rivers of Antarctica, list of rivers of Antarctica, fictional rivers, rivers of Middle-earth, see also.